Bishnu, Panigrahi, the Chief Medical Officer at Fortis. Thank you so much for joining us here on ET Now. You know, tomorrow is an EGM. It had always been scheduled. It had been demanded by the minority shareholders for overhauling the board of directors. They wanted 4 of them to resign and go. 3 have already done so on their own. Suo only 1 is left, whose removal is being demanded, Brian Tempest. Can you tell us what's going on at the company? Can you give us an insider's perspective on the road ahead, especially with the EGM slated for tomorrow?
Yes, I'm Dr. Panigrahi here. Good afternoon. In fact, this has been going on for quite some time. It's nearly 18 months. We started off, I think, so in November 2016. And it has been a big distraction for everyone in the top management. The doctors also across the network were getting distracted, and because of various things, because any management change that happens, it goes down to the floor level, shop level. In other words, in our case, the hospitals, and it impacted. As we must have read about the cash flow. The cash flow issues came up. The doctors are worried whether the management changes, what will happen at the ground level. So all this uncertainty was actually sort of hampering the workflow, and in a way, it has impacted each and every hospital across the network. Although at the same time, as we say, we have one of probably the best pool of doctors across the country. And as I'm speaking today, we just completed the first heart transplant done in West Bengal at our Fortis hospital in Kolkata. So a lot of good things are happening. But this distraction is actually sort of upsetting to a lot of clinicians, and the doctors have been asking us, when is this going to end, and when are you going to start off? And in fact, when the last announcement happened with the board announced that so and so is getting the deal, in other words, the Hero and Dabur group. So, and with the cash infusion coming in, people were quite happy that two good Indian corporate health players are coming into the system and will help us ameliorate our cash flow. We'll see growth, and in other words, we'll be back on track. I think that was the most important point that was coming up. And now again, all the thing has happened. It's put everyone in a dizzy. You don't know what's going to happen. So this uncertainty is actually, in a way, it's very...
Of course, I understand. I understand that nobody likes uncertainty. You one of the largest hospital chains going through this. I'm sure the doctors feel uneasy every time they read the newspaper's front page of the Economic Times today saying the largest shareholder, Yes Bank, wants the entire bidding process to be revisited. But from what you're telling me, should I understand that inside, or rather the fraternity, the top surgeons and the doctors at Fortis actually have a preference for the Dabur and the Munjal bid, that they prefer that to, let's say, maybe what a Dr. Pai of Manipal is offering or what the IHH is offering? Have I understood that right from what you're saying?
I'll put it this way, when the first news came out, it was positive that at least the Indian healthcare, someone from the Indian health, who has had understanding of Indian health sector is coming into play. The cash is going to come into the system. We'll have an ethical group taking over and getting things back on track. But if you ask me, do the doctors have a specific preference for X, Y, Z? I think that's, to be fair to the doctors, that's not there. They wanted this thing to end and quickly get back to track. But when the deal was announced, there was a lot of positive vibes across that a good group is coming in and taking charge.
But, can you just tell us that, if this acquisition or this entire process, gets delayed further, do you think there will be a lot of people who would start to leave?
That threat looms very high on the radar. In fact, as we speak, there's a lot of doctors who are willing to come on board, but they are holding their horses because they don't know who will be the new promoter. So it's on the other side, there are people who are getting frustrated by all this thing getting delayed, who may look elsewhere. And a lot of good doctors who are willing to come out of the Fortis system are also waiting to see. And those doctors who are waiting also, they will not wait for endless time. They see that things are still lingering. They may say that to hell with you, will not come, will look elsewhere.
On the flip side, then, what you're saying, if the doctors and the surgeons are distracted, that's bad news for patients. Should they not be then going to Fortis hospitals till they know there is clarity and the doctors are not distracted?
As far as any doctor, from a big or small, from in a big hospital or a small hospital, everyone does the best for the patient. The patient is always first. Rest comes later. On that count, I'll be very clear. When they see a patient in the OPD or they're operating, no distraction comes into play. They perform as the best that the capability is desired. And on that count, I think as a chief medical officer company, I can give the assurance to anyone that please be rest assured that the best care is being provided in spite of the distraction. So I think I commend the doctors, I commend the nurses for what they're doing in spite of all the distraction that's there.
Before I let you go, I actually attended the last press conference of Fortis Healthcare. I went to the Fortis facility in Gurgaon. It's one of your flagship hospitals. That press conference was chaired by Brian Tempest, and he did say the board was not unanimous in deciding to go with the Munjal and the Burman bid. Once again, I ask you this. You said that while the doctors may not have a preference, they just want the certainty to come in. They want this uncertainty to end. Do you think it's time that maybe the doctors and surgeons should also be asked? You have to report to the promoters. There must be synergy with the promoters. Like there are always all these talks about promoters putting undue pressure perhaps on doctors and surgeons for targets, for example. So don't you think you people, the people that make the hospital the actual reason why patients go there, should have a say in this?
They should. In fact, if you look at across the world, the good healthcare chains, there's a lot of inputs taken by doctors who are involved. In fact, a lot of good healthcare chains have doctors on their board. And doctors' inputs are taken very seriously. So that is there.
Okay, so let's hope the remaining members of the Fortis Healthcare are listening to you and give that say in the larger interest of patient care, in the larger interest of healthcare, and maybe not just the short-term gains of certain investors that are looking for a good exit. I think that will be the most important, to find synergy so that one of India's largest hospital chains does not go down. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talking to us here on ET Now. Stay